Here's the plan. Move to the Philippines after 30 years of living in Hong Kong. Build a house. Do some gardening. Video, hopefully, the whole process. There could be some speed bumps. We've moved in the middle of COVID, so all of this has been delayed. It's the rainy season, so this should have been yesterday, but we were in the middle of a typhoon. We know nothing about building houses, or gardening, or filming, or editing. What could possibly go wrong? And here's the plan for today. They've already marked out the outline of the house, but today they're going to go through and mark out some of the interiors of the ground floor. They're going to dig out some of the trenching. There may even be a little bit of pouring concrete today. We'll see what happens. That's the plan. What could possibly go wrong?
In our project, we have two-story residential, elegant finished house that it has a 720 plus square meter with the pool at the back, 200 square meter with a sinking bench, and it has a 11,000 plus square meter area lot. We will do it the perimeter fence. Again, in behalf of our team, engineer, Madam, and our lead foreman.
Manny Trinidad, sir.
Manny.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Manny Trinidad. It has a lot of money, you know. So again, thank you, and we do appreciate, and we are very excited to work with you. Okay. O yung picture taking at the end. Sige, do it. Yeah. Here's the cover it with sand. Yeah, cover it up. Okay, Mike, you can do it over here. Picture. Meron siyang picture.
Oh, picture.
Picture mo siya.
Picture. Wala na picture.
Picture. Oh, ayun, picture. Again,
You're gonna build the whole thing?
A little bit, yan.
1, 2. 1, 2. One more. 1, 2. Thank you.
For the groundbreaking. Okay. Let's just bow our head and say a little pray. Our Father in heaven, we are gathered here today to celebrate a new beginning in this groundbreaking ceremony. We recognize, dear God, that we are nothing and nothing can be accomplished without your help and guidance. And so we ask to bless and lead us today so that the construction can be complete rapidly. We praise you for your gift of land and the ability to use it wisely. We place our plans for this building site in your hands, trusting that your guidance, we can construct this safely, coordination, and cooperation with each other in this site. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Here we are on day one of building our new house. We're in Pampanga province, quite close to the town of Magalang, and about 30 minutes drive to Angeles City and the international airport at Clark. So today is groundbreaking. We've done a little ceremony for that, and a little prayer from the architect and constructor. And you can see that although this is groundbreaking day, actually they've done some pre-work already. So they've built their little hut, their shack, where a couple of the workers, maybe 2 or 3 of the workers, will be staying overnight. It's where they get some shade, it's where they can have some food, it's where they can store a little bit of their equipment. So that's been built. They have laid out the outline of the floor plan, which is hoving into view right now. We have moved it around quite a bit while we were trying to decide the best location for it, how far forwards, how far back. But this is the general outline. And here we have the stars of the show, my wife with her back to us. Sorry, my asawa. I have to use the right words. And Alan, codename Alan, who is the architect. So this is the land. It's fairly large. It was basically a big old field that we bought quite a number of years ago. And about, I'm not sure, maybe 4 years ago, we put this small house on it, which is currently being used by our son George. Actually Aldrian, but he goes by George, and various other nicknames apparently. And we have over here what was originally built as a kind of a dirty kitchen and has now ended up really being a gymnasium mostly. I'm not sure if it's going to stay that way after we build our house. But this is looking back towards the road, and over there, if the sun's not too bright, we have Mount Moriah. And we wanted to have the house, the front of the house, basically pointing towards that, so that when we get up in the morning, as long as it's a nice day, which it very often is, we will get a nice view of the mountain. And back here, the land just extends. We've taken down already quite a lot of trees that were filling up space that we need to use later on to do some vegetable gardening. Well, mostly vegetable gardening. I think where a lot of this wood that's lying on the ground, if you can make it out from here, that's all the stuff that's been cut down, and that's probably where we'll put either a greenhouse or a polytunnel, but also with some kind of cooling in it, so we can try and grow things that in the heat of the Philippines probably wouldn't normally grow very well. So we'll do some experiments. As a word of warning, everything I touch when I grow things usually dies, but we'll give it a try. So they're just removing some of this wood. Actually, some of it they're going to turn into charcoal, which is going to be useful later on. It's expensive stuff here. Over in the corner behind those banana trees, there's a pond, a fish pond, that does have some baby fish in it now. And the land extends a little bit around the corner to the left, where there's again going to be more vegetable growing. So this is the front of the house. So on this side, we'll have a living room. And the front door will be somewhere here, not sure where yet. And then there'll be a dining room, kind of a formal dining room. And then we will have the kitchen. Sorry, the ground's a bit bumpy. Kitchen will be here. And then behind the kitchen, we'll have a laundry room and a helper's quarters. And right at the back, we'll have a dirty kitchen. Very popular in the Philippines, so that's where you apparently cook all your smelly food. Or in some cases, it seems, all of your food. And then as we go across the back, there'll be a lanai, kind of an open area that we're hoping feels a bit indoor-outdoory. And back in that corner, we'll have a home theatre room, which I can't afford to put any equipment in, and a small gymnasium spa area. And then upstairs, on this side, we'll have the master suite, master bedroom, and then across the rest of the house there will be 4 more bedrooms, one for each of the kids. guess the likelihood of them all being in the same place at the same time is quite small, but we wanted to have the ability for everyone to stay here. To have bought this quite a long time ago. It's quite a large area, which is lots of benefits. We can do lots of different things with it. One of the negatives is the amount of security wall that we have to build is quite substantial and therefore horribly expensive. But that's, I guess, a small price to pay. We were very lucky that my wife persuaded me many years ago to buy this land. I should have listened to her earlier because we got to get it even cheaper, but I didn't, which is very unusual because, obviously normally I listen to every word she says and obey every instruction she gives me. Like any good husband, that's how the relationship works. They talk, we listen. So that's the general layout, and at the back of the house there'll be the swimming pool, kind of over a bit to the right of where the black car is. And as I may have said earlier, we'll have beyond that house, we're hoping to put in some kind of covered, cooled area to try and grow some vegetables that don't like the heat of the Philippine sun. And right over way at the back that you can't see, we'll put some raised beds in there and see what else we can grow. And the front, all of this area, we're leaving empty for now. So it turns out the metal structure isn't actually the outline of the house, it's just supporting the string lines that show where the house will be. I'm still a bit confused about what all of the string lines mean. Hopefully as the day progresses we'll get a bit clearer. This area at some point will be made flat and it will be raised up, I believe by 30 centimetres to help with ensure that the rain runs off. I mean, we've just had 24 hours of very heavy prolonged rain, and you can see here there are some small puddles, but it looks like this land drains really fast. So that's the land. It's about 12,000 square meters. The house is 700 square meters if you take both floors into account. And I know we're going to be repeatedly asked, what does it cost? I've seen enough of the other videos that those are the questions that come up the most. Where are you? What does it cost? How big is it? And I can't tell you what it's going to cost yet. I know what the basic contract price is that we've agreed, but I don't know what all the add-ons are going to come to. So lunchtime on day one, guys are taking a well-earned break. I'm not sure what the temperature is today, but it's hot. So here is where they're doing all the rebar, the steel rebar cutting and bending to make the columns and the beams. So some of this they did in advance of the first day of build today, but you can see they've got quite a lot achieved already. This is, I'm assuming, this is one of the columns. And because this is a reasonably large house, apparently they're using 16mm rebar for the main structural support. And there are 8 pieces of that rebar in the column. That's not for all of the columns, it's really for the heavy load bearing ones. Certainly where there's 2 stories. They do have power, they have electricity hooked up, so they can use the electrical tools. And they've now started to mark out a little bit more of the string lines. I still don't know which one tells you what. I'm assuming if we start over here, this one, if you can make it out, is the edge of the house. So this is the corner of the kitchen, is just a little bit back here. What we don't have yet is anything marking out the interior rooms. I guess maybe it's too early for that. Maybe they are pouring a slab before they do that. I'm not sure. We'll see how it goes. But that's all marked out. And the guys are very sensibly hiding in the shade. This tree is going to come down, but it'll come down much, much later in the process because it does give them some shade to work under. It's a shame. It's, I think, the last of our mango trees. We had about 6 or 7 really big mango trees, but there was a typhoon last year, and I think 4 or 5 were blown down in that typhoon. In fact, there must have been more than that because we've already taken down another 2 or 3 in the last week. Afternoon break, 3 o'clock, 2 hours after lunch, and trust me, 2 hours digging holes or doing what they were doing. That's hard work, they need the break. So we'll have a quick look around and see where we've got to. So we're starting to get the footers dug out. I think they're called footers, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. We have more of the string lines that you probably can't see, but take my word for it. We've got more string lines here showing, I think, what the some of the room layout is going to look like. More footer, another footer dug over here. I'll have to check with the engineer what depth they have to go to. And we'll keep walking around to see what's on the other side. But yeah, more footers dug over here. Again, whether they're to the right depth, I can't tell you. But what I can tell you is I was watching some of these guys digging and they were maniacs. Digging like crazy. But you can maybe start to get a sense of how much the land is uneven here. There's an awful lot of backfilling to be done and digging to get it to the right level. And a lot more steel. Well, some more steel has been cut and shaped. And a couple more, I assume. Not sure. Oh, these are more. These are the columns again. So there might be some beams coming along as well. And it's the Philippines. It wouldn't be the Philippines without music. But here, getting some shade. What you can see over here is a number of piles of concrete hollow blocks. That's the standard building material here. It's not load bearing. I'm told by the architect that the bricks he buys are 350 psi, and they do need to sit for quite a while and they need to get wet. And these concrete hollow blocks have been here for quite a while now, and they have been getting regular soakings because we are in rainy season. So as they just sit here, so I'm told, in theory, they get stronger. But again, they're not supposed to be load bearing. The columns are supposed to take all the load, and the beams. Right, so that's the 3 o'clock break. We'll come back a little bit later and see how much more has been done. And over here we've got a separate crew, very small crew, just 2 guys. But they were part of a bigger group that came in and cut down a lot of these trees a week or two ago, and now they're taking a lot of the wood that they will turn into charcoal, which we will use, or who knows, maybe we can even sell a bit of it. Goodness only knows we're going to need the money. And just in case you thought that I was being completely lazy for the intervening time since my last little video, yeah, well, of course you're mostly right, but I did do some gardening. Now, my dad, hey John, love you. He'll probably be having kittens at the moment when I talk about me doing gardening. He knows I'm rubbish at it and was rarely in the garden, and when I was, I usually killed things. But I did start over here to try and get some compost going. And so I turned the compost today, or at least I turned the material that's in the bin, which has been there for, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks by now. And that bit in there is mostly grass clippings and sawdust. And then this lot down here is leaves and newspaper, which I guess is going to be much slower. Goodness only knows how long this all takes to become compost, but we have a big garden and we're going to need a lot of it, and this is just a tiny amount here. But I did turn all that over, so I'm not showing you me at this point because I'm very hot and sweaty, which is, I'm not a pretty sight at the best of times. So it's 4 o'clock, another hour in. Digging, obviously, that's going to be a recurring theme. Measuring, string lines, it's all going on. So there's 2 things that have happened since the last little clip that restores my faith in the ability of everything to go wrong. The first one was they have a small truck that does deliveries and it broke down. So there was a quick break in proceedings with the workers while they all pushed and shoved it and got it going again. The other one was the sacrifice. And here in the Philippines, at building sites, I'm told it's quite common that you make a sacrifice on day 1 of the process, and you sacrifice some chickens and you spill their blood basically into the footers. Now, I would like to say that I didn't film it because I thought it was a little sensitive, and quite a lot of people might not like to see something like that because they do cut the necks of the chickens and they bleed out. That's not true though. I did film it, but I forgot to switch on the audio. So that clip has been consigned to the bin. Just take my word for it. 7 chickens paid a heavy price for this house. We thank them for it, and hopefully they've got rid of the bad demons they're supposed to get rid of. And I'm sure they'll make a very pleasant dinner tonight for us and for some of these guys as well. So it's 4:30, and that's not enough time for these guys, but they start at 7 in the morning. So that's a lovely early start for them and for us, but at least it's a little cooler at that time of the day. So that's kind of day 1 finished in the bag. But I would get in trouble if I didn't do a couple of quick call outs to people. Well, I might not get into trouble, but I'm going to do it anyway. So just want to say hi to a couple of people. First and foremost, our kids. So Jack and Sabrina are currently sitting in quarantine in the UK, waiting to start university. So hi to both of you. And to Alex, who's in Hong Kong, who's working in Hong Kong. Hi to you, Alex. And our other son, George, he's here. We haven't seen him on camera today, I don't think, but he's here, looking after his goodness knows how many different businesses. So hi to everybody there. Hi to my dad. I already said my dad earlier on, but hi, Dad. Hope you're well. And my brothers and their families. Hope you guys are fine. Thanks again for helping out with our kids. And thanks also to Martin up in Leeds/Nottingham, who's going to be helping Jack to get organised when he comes back, because Martin very kindly looked after some of Jack's stuff while he was back in Hong Kong for most of the year, and while Jack was here as well. But Martin's going to help him return his stuff to him and get sorted out in his new accommodation. So thanks to all those guys. Thanks to the workers today for a good start, and we'll see you tomorrow, apparently at 7 o'clock. Oh my word. Okay, day one, it's a wrap.